Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Kaylee. If you're new here, I talk about intentional living, what that looks like for me, and hopefully sharing some tips along the way for you to make your most intentional life as well. Today, I want to tell you about 15 ways that we save money when we go on vacation, specifically when we are driving to the location of our vacation or our holiday. I grew up going to Florida at least once a year for family vacation, and in my adult life, I have carried on that tradition both when I was single and now that I am married. We try to go to Florida at least once a year, if not multiple times. I think back in 2022, we went to the beach 3 or 4 times that year on shorter trips throughout the year, but it was fantastic. And that would be my ideal situation. However, things are just continuing to get more and more expensive, so it's not always a possibility. But when it is a possibility, I want to save as many dollar bills as I can. So I want to talk to you about 15 things that I do to help us save money when we're going on vacation. Tip number 1, buy your SPF at home. It is 9 times out of 10 going to be even slightly cheaper where you live currently than down by the beach itself, simply because of surge pricing, and the demand is higher typically for sunscreen, SPF, all of those things down by the beach than it is in your local grocery store, Walmart, Target, wherever you shop. So buy your SPF before you hit the road. Tip number 2 is to bring any beach chairs, beach towels, sand tarp, any beach equipment that you have already. It's best to bring it with you for a couple of reasons. One, it is way more expensive to purchase it down in Florida. So even if you know that there's a beach umbrella or a beach chair or something like that that you're wanting, try to buy it before you go. But number 2, if you already own those items, I have found even if a lot of rentals have equipment, it's not always in the best shape. It's not always taken care of by other guests, and I would just rather have mine. We have something to try for this year. I think my dad gave it to us last year, but we haven't been to the beach, so we haven't been able to try it. It's one of those like chairs that you fill with air, wind, and then close it up and lay it down, and then you lay on it. I don't know if it's going to become a beach staple for us, but I am excited to try it, and we'll see how it goes. And it's nice that it just folds up into a small carrying case. I will mention that I recognize when you are driving somewhere, you have to optimize the space in your vehicle based on the number of people and how many suitcases and all of that you're bringing. It's only my husband and I, so it's very easy for us to get everything we want to bring in our car without feeling cramped. Little tip, it adds money on the front end of the trip for sure, but I know a family, they all go to the beach together, sisters, cousins, aunts and uncles, everybody, and they just rent like the smallest U-Haul covered trailer that you can rent and put all of their luggage and beach equipment and things like that in the trailer so that in the cars are only people. So they split the cost of that trailer however many different ways. And so even though it does add a cost, it still allows you to bring all of your things and ride comfortably in the car. So just something to think about. We also bring our own cooler, one to take things down and back in, and to take down onto the beach with us with snacks and drinks, our lunches, things like that. In addition to the cooler, bringing multiple insulated water bottles and cups is something that I highly recommend because if they're insulated, they hold the cold longer. So then if you fill them up at the beginning of the day and then refill them around lunchtime, refill them again in the afternoon, it's just better to keep your drinks cooler and you're less tempted to either buy something at a convenience store or like a beach snack shack if there's one available. I know for me, if I know that I have a cold drink available to me, I won't go and buy a cold drink somewhere else. So bring some insulated cups and water bottles to keep them in your cooler so they stay cold and you stay hydrated. If you're taking alcohol, bring your alcohol from home. Buy whatever you want to buy, whether that's liquor, whether that's beer, whether that's seltzers, whatever you're going to buy it at home and take it with you. Again, it's probably going to be cheaper if you buy it at home. And number two, it's definitely going to be cheaper if you are mixing drinks or grabbing drinks from wherever you're staying versus going out and getting drinks and beverages. We also bring our coffee, like our ground coffee from home, and our Bialetti, which is what we use to make our coffee. It's good because it helps keep you from going out to find really good coffee because you know it's really good coffee because it's your coffee from home. So I highly recommend taking your coffee, and if you have a special way that you make your coffee like we do, take that equipment to make your coffee. We definitely do like to go find local coffee spots, but we have been at this area where we're going quite a few times before, and unless there has been something that's popped up in the past year, there's not really any local coffee shops that are like small and independently owned. So we'll probably just drink our own coffee. These next two tips are ones that we've never done before, but I'm very excited about seeing, one, how much money we save doing it this year, and two, I can't believe I've never thought about it before. The first one is that we will be bringing our SodaStream machine and a couple of different flavors for each of us, and obviously our SodaStream bottles. We tend to drink more soda when we're at the beach because we just go and grab, a 12-pack of cans or bottles. But this way, we're not purchasing that. We are just making the SodaStream as we want it because inevitably we always come home with extras. And it's something that we don't typically buy here. So why would we buy it there if we don't have to when we have an alternative that's cheaper? So we'll be taking our SodaStream machine. The other thing that we will be bringing is our Brita water filter. We have one of the big ones that sits in the fridge with a spout instead of a pitcher. And we're going to bring that with us. If you've ever been to Florida, you know the water stinks and it is gross. This might not make it the most delicious water we've ever tasted, but it will help filter out some things. It'll help with the odor. It'll help with the taste. And then we bring our own lime and lemon juice to add to the water, which we also do at home. And that makes it drinkable. So instead of buying a bunch of packs of bottled water or gallons of water, we'll take the Brita filter and that'll save us money. If you don't have a Brita filter, but you travel to the beach a lot or you go on vacation a lot where you find yourself buying packaged water, maybe look at getting a pitcher and just using that on vacations. Or if you're going for a long enough amount of time, it still might be cheaper for you to buy one of the pitchers, use it while you're on your trip, and then leave it behind for other guests to use in the future. Just something to think about. Tip number 8 is to make your bread, bagels, things like that ahead of time if you can, so that you have it when you're there. The last time we went to Florida, I am fairly certain that I paid $12 for a sourdough loaf. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. So I am making 3 different loaves of sourdough to take down with us so that we don't have to buy bread. I've also made a double batch of bagels already, and I have them in the freezer, and they will also go down with us for breakfast or lunch. Tip number 9 is to bring any groceries that you already have. Think things like mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, coffee creamer, maple syrup, whatever you think that you're going to need condiments-wise or grocery-wise, bring that with you so that you're not repurchasing an item that you already have at home that may be used and opened, but then you can either use it up on your trip or use it while you're there and bring it back instead of buying a brand new container there and then bringing it home with you, and then you have multiple containers of a product open that you need to use up. I like to prioritize cooler space for those items, the ones that I don't want to have to repurchase when I get to Florida if we already have them in our fridge or freezer. In a similar vein, meal prep before you leave. Know what you want to make for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that way you know exactly what to bring with you, whether that's canned products, cooking oil or seasonings. That is one big thing that a lot of people don't think about, is the seasonings that they want to bring to make meals. Because sure, you can buy a bunch of different ingredients, but I like to heavily season my food, and I can't do that without all my seasonings. So if I meal plan ahead of time and I know exactly what I plan on cooking and making, I can bring whatever seasonings I need instead of having to repurchase them, because they are not cheap. When you do go grocery shopping down at the beach, I have a couple of tips. One, go grocery shopping after you check in to wherever you're staying, because a lot of rentals have a couple of items there, or people leave behind things that you think you might need to pick up that you actually don't because they're in the rental. The other reason that I like to do this is some rentals just come with like a couple of trash bags, 1 or 2 rolls of toilet paper, and no cleaning supplies. So if you need to purchase those things, you know before you go to the grocery store for the first time if you need to pick them up. My other tip for going grocery shopping in Florida is to do it across the bridge. If you have gone to a beach in Florida, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'll explain. When you go to Florida and you're going to stay on the beach, every beach that you go to, you will cross a massive bridge over another body of water, not the ocean, typically a river or marshes or something like that. You will cross the bridge and then you will be on the main beach strip. Before you cross that bridge, there are typically tons of restaurants, tons of fast food places, tons of grocery stores. When you cross the bridge, there are less fast food places, less grocery stores, and a lot more restaurants. Here's the reason that I think you should go grocery shopping before you cross the bridge, or at least going back across the bridge to go grocery shopping after you've checked in to wherever you're staying. Because typically they're bigger, and so therefore you have more variety and options for items. And number 2, it is typically cheaper for the same products that you would buy at the same grocery store across the bridge. So I like to do it on the mainland area before I cross that bridge. A lot of restaurants on that side are also going to be cheaper. And you're going to find more variety and a lot more chain restaurants and fast food joints that you're used to. But definitely go across the bridge to that main area to do your grocery shopping if you want to save some money. Tip number 12 is to make all of your breakfasts and lunches. I will say, most people will tell you, eating lunch out is cheaper. You can eat off the same menu with the same items, and it's much cheaper if you go at lunchtime instead of dinner time. There's also typically little or no wait to go eat out at lunch instead of dinner. However, my priority when I go on vacation is to spend as much time as possible on the beach with my butt in a chair with a book in my hand and a drink in the other and sitting on the beach. That's my priority. So I don't want to leave the beach and go back and put clothes on and then drive to a restaurant or walk to a restaurant or whatever and then lose beach time. So therefore, for me, eating out at dinner time makes a lot more sense for why we're on vacation and what we want to prioritize when we're there. But if that's not your priority and you want to prioritize eating more meals out for less money, definitely go eat out at lunchtime. But for me, my tip is to make breakfast and lunch and some dinners. But pretty much all of our breakfast and all of our lunch will be made by me, and we will eat it on the beach. There's one exception, by the way, for us. We will go out to breakfast one time to a place in New Smyrna Beach, which is 20 minutes down the road from where we're staying. It's called Wake Up Cafe. It's Argentinian and Venezuelan breakfast. It is so good. So good. So whenever we're going to be in that area, we always make a stop there because we know that it's worth the money and we know that it's worth the wait. So that's something that we will prioritize on our trip. Speaking of restaurants that we will prioritize, I suggest searching restaurants before you go on your trip because there are typically quite a few to choose from, but not all of them are good or worth your time or worth your money. There have been so many meals that were totally wasted, money totally wasted, because we wanted to go out that night. We didn't do any prior research and we just chose a place and went there, and the meal was awful. So I suggest searching your restaurants beforehand and making a short list of 5 to 6 restaurants. Even if you're not eating out that frequently, then it just gives you a variety to choose from on the nights that you do decide you want to go out to eat. We're going to a very similar area that we've been to before. However, we haven't been there in about 2 years. So I will still look up some of the restaurants that we used to really like and check recent reviews to see if their food and service is still as good as it was when we were there last. Tip number 14 is to walk when possible, especially if you can walk to and from wherever you're going for the whole time or the majority time on the beach itself. When we have gone on shorter trips, we choose a place that's walking distance to some restaurants so that we never have to get in our car once we get to the rental. That has worked for us in the past. I don't know that it's going to work out that way this time around because we're in a little bit more of a remote area from the major restaurants and things. However, when it's possible for us to walk somewhere, we will. And if I can walk there and back on the beach, even better, because it just adds to the whole experience and ambiance with feeling the breeze and hearing the ocean and taking your shoes off and walking in the sand. It's like my favorite thing. And my last tip is to split the cost of the rental when possible. Listen, I am all about going on a trip, just the two of us. Sometimes we bring the pup with us too, but things are getting increasingly more expensive, and that is getting increasingly more difficult to do for a longer period of time. So if we're going for 3 or 4 nights, sure, it'll just be us. But this year, the only way that we're affording a 7-day vacation is because we are going with my family. I kind of pioneered this because I knew I wanted a longer vacation this year. And so I asked my parents, hey, do you know when you might be going to Florida? Maybe we can all just go together. So we are splitting the rental cost with my parents and my brother and one of his friends. And that's really the only way that we are affording a on the beach rental this year for 7 days. So if you have any friends or family that you feel like you could vacation or holiday with, definitely check with them, see what their ideas are for vacation, and see if you can come up with a place to go and split the cost and make it a lot cheaper for all of you. I am sure that we will find more tips and tricks while we're on vacation, and I'm sure that there are some that I'm totally missing that we do every year naturally. But those are 15 ways that you can save money when you go on a beach vacation or a vacation where you are driving to the destination. I hope you can take 1 or 2 or all of those tips and tuck them away for a rainy day and save some money while still going on a beautiful vacation where you can rest and relax, because that is what I'm going to be doing in just a few short days. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again on the other side of vacation. Until next time.